everyone, and welcome to Watercolors with Jaylene. So for today's tutorial, we're going to do a quick little gingerbread man. You can see the one that I have completed for this video. I've mounted on a little piece of paper, and I'll talk about that as well. And before we get started, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my videos. Feel free to leave comments below. I appreciate those also. So real quick, our materials list for today is going to be just a little piece of watercolor paper. And then for this one, I do have the background paper if you want to use that, and if not, that's fine too. It's real easy colors. The colors I'll be using today are burnt sienna for the gingerbread man, a little bit of hooker's green, some alizarin crimson red, and black for the eyes, and then for the white piping on the gingerbread man, that'll be a white gouache. And if you wanted to use a white gel pen for that, that'd probably work as, just as well. I do have 3 brushes. I have a number 4 round, a number 8 round, and then this is a different number 4 round, just with the belly of the brush. It's a little bit different. So to get started, what I am going to do, I'll move this one aside and I'll put this up here. Now I did just pencil in the gingerbread man real quick before I started the video, just because I've already done, like, I don't know, probably 8 or 10 of these. And so what I'm going to do is take my number 4 round brush, and I want to just go ahead and kind of wet the whole interior. And to draw the gingerbread man, it's very basic. Just the head, 2 arms going out, and the 2 legs going out. So I want to, get this a little bit wet so that once I do go to put the burnt sienna down, it kind of will just blend throughout. And so I want to load my brush up with plenty of water along with the paint. And then, well, that might be a little too much water. And then just go around and paint this in. And as I've mentioned in other videos, the paint, as it dries, of course, it will lighten up. So keep that in mind as you're painting this. And I just want to make sure that this is nice and a nice smooth line. And then as far as the heaviness or the depth of the color on here, it doesn't have to be super consistent all around. It can vary a little bit. And that just adds a little bit of character to your painting of your little gingerbread man. All right. And then, of course, like any gingerbread man, there's a lot of different ways that you can decorate them. So if you want to kind of, switch this up a bit and have fun with it, make different designs on your if you're making more than one. If you're going to paint more than one, do different designs on each one. That can be a lot of fun. And we're going to give this just a minute to dry so that we can continue on with the inside of it. So while we're waiting for that, what I would like to do is just go ahead and do the outside color. And for this is the alizarin crimson, which is a red. So if you don't have that specific color, any red will be fine. The paints that I'm using today are my Grumbacher paints. Sometimes I use my Winsor & Newton, but I found on my Winsor & Newton set that the color of the burnt sienna was just a little bit different than what I really wanted. That's why I did choose to use my Grumbachers today. So to do this outside, I'm going to use my larger brush, which is the number 8 round. And again, I want to go around and just kind of there's a little bit of blue in that. That's not good. So I must not have cleaned my brush out real good after my last painting earlier today. So there was a little bit of blue in there. And to fix that mistake, I just take my paper towel and blot up the little bit of paint that, or a little bit of water that I did have down. So whenever you make a mistake, they are easy to fix a lot of times. So don't get too worried about it. Okay, so let's try this again. It still looks like there's a hint of blue. It must be stuck on the brush, but we're going to be fine with it. It's pretty much gone. So what I'm doing is going around, and I want to make sure that I have plenty of water on the surrounding edges. And then when I go to put the paint on, I don't want it to actually touch the gingerbread man anywhere. Okay, so we do have paint all around, so I'm gonna get into my alizarin crimson and get quite a bit of paint on my brush. So I'll start on this part. And what I want to do is go around the edge. I don't want to touch the gingerbread man. And as I go around the edge, that's where the heaviest of the paint will be. And so, let me get a little bit more on here. So we just kind of let that spread out a little bit from there. We can kind of move it a little bit, but we want the concentrated color to be right against the, or you know, up against the gingerbread man. And then as it blends out, it gets lighter. Whoops. And that's why we want to make sure that there's, you know, plenty of water on the paper so that it blends out very nicely. And it gets lighter as it goes out. It just has a nice effect that way. Okay. And come around here and make sure that's nice and heavy with color. Bring it around. And there I got just a little too close, but that's just one of those little oops. All right, so you can see how nicely it is blending out. And see, I should have had just a little bit more water over in this area. So we're gonna kind of work it out just a little bit. Because as I mentioned, we just want it to get a little lighter as it gets further away from the gingerbread man. And then it doesn't have to be perfectly all the way to the edges. We can just kind of let it go out as far as it does. And I'm tapping on this because there was a little bit of the blue in that brush in that area. So, and it was showing through a little bit. All right, I'll have to, I guess, get some good soapy water and clean this brush out. I didn't realize that the blue was being held in there like that. Okay, so I'm going to give this just a minute because I do want that burnt sienna to be nice and dry before I start, you know, adding some of the details to the gingerbread man himself. If I do it too quickly, then it will, the colors will blend, and I don't want that. I want a nice stark contrast in the color. So I'm going to give this just a minute, and then we'll continue on. Okay, so I think this is dry enough now, so we can go ahead and get started on some of the little details that we'll be putting on to our snowman. So we'll start with the eyes, which I just use just a black, if you have a lamp black, or I don't know, any dark shade of black is going to do. I have used, let's see, indigo on some of the earlier ones that I did. Hold on, we had a little, and just put 2 eyes on here. You know, the gingerbread man, such a traditional little Christmas cookie. Gingerbread houses, those are a lot of fun. I've tried doing those in the past, putting them together, and they're a little more difficult than what you see. At least I had a hard time with them. Okay, and then just an easy little smile. And you can tell I have a lot of paint on that brush. So that's going to take a few minutes for that to dry for sure. And then let me grab a little bit more red. And then for the bow, the little bow, the center of the bow is going to be red. And then we're going to give him a couple of red buttons. And this is all just real easy. We aren't mixing up a lot of special colors or anything, you know, straight out of the paint set. So then for the bow, let's get some of this green. And I know it's out of the picture, but this is just a basic hooker's green. And so I want to put a little waistband on here, which will be a nice little squiggle. And then also for his bow tie, let's just do, you know, the bow on either side. And everything is very wet still, so just be careful. It'll take a couple minutes for this to dry, and you can see how quick and easy that was. So now for the piping along his arms and legs, we're going to use a little bit of white gouache. And if you haven't used white gouache or any gouache before, you know, it's just a water-based paint. I'm just going to put a little bit on my dish here, and then you want to add some water to it to kind of break it down a little bit. It's very thick. When it comes out of the tube, it's very thick, so you do want to incorporate a little bit of water with it. Okay, so then for the piping, you just want to do a little squiggle line, two little squiggle lines on his legs and his arms. See how quick and easy this is? It's so fun. All right, so we're going to let all of this dry for just a minute. I'm going to set that aside. And then while this is drying, what I do want to show you, give me just a minute here to get my brush cleaned out a bit. So for the background paper, because if you've seen other videos of mine, then you know that I do make a lot of greeting cards. And that's what these are going to end up being, is greeting cards. So I take my piece of solid paper, and then just with a white gel pen, I'll go around and just do a squiggle line. It just makes for a really cute border, and especially for the Christmas holiday. If you were to do a little painting of, I don't know, like a stocking or these gingerbread men, you know, this is a perfect little border if you're making it into greeting cards, which I do so many. Not just for the holiday season, I do them all year long, but definitely at the holidays, I spend a lot of time making cards, because all the cards that I make, and whether I'm selling them or just sending them out, none of them are copies. They're all originals, because I have found that that's what people really treasure, you know, is when it's an original. So I don't make any copies. And I just go around and put little dots in. You could use a dark green paper, you know, like the nice holly green that's so popular at the holidays. You could do that. And then use the green gel pen, or the white gel pen, I mean. you know, to add in the little dots. You can see how quick. Could probably be a little bit neater if I slowed down a little bit, but once it's all done, it looks fine. So you can see how quick and easy that was. And then, as I mentioned, you know, that's just the background paper. And then I used double-sided tape to, you know, tape the little gingerbread man down to the background. And then, of course, when I'm done, I do add my glitter glue. And same as before, if you've ever seen my videos, you know how much I love my glitter glue. So this is still a little bit wet. I'm going to let this dry for just a minute. We'll put on a couple of little touches, both my red glitter glue and then my iridescent. We'll add that so you can, I know it won't show up very good in the video, but at least you can see where I'm adding it. So if you want to do that to yours, then you'll kind of have a good idea, because in real life, the glitter glue really adds such a cute touch to it and everybody just loves it. So let's just give this a minute to dry and then we'll continue on. Okay, so this has dried, and you can see how the red, as it dried, it did get much lighter. Now what I'm going to do is with my red glitter glue, just go down through and do little dots. It doesn't take a whole lot, just a little bit goes a long way. So we added a bit of glitter to all of the red except for his smile. And then on his legs and arms, I don't add it to both of the pipings, I just add it to the bottom one. And the iridescent I really like. I mean, you could go ahead and add a silver or gold, but I just think that iridescent has a nicer look to it. And I see where this white kind of, not sure what happened to it, so I'm just going to see if I can't fill it in a little bit with my gel pen. Okay, so that is now complete, and that's just how quick it is. And then because the gel glue is now wet, I won't go ahead and put the double-sided tape on it, but all you have to do is add a little bit of double-sided tape to the top and bottom and a little bit on the sides, and glue it to the background paper, and you're all set. If you want to make a card with it, what some people have asked me to do is just create it like this and not put it on a card, because they want to go ahead and write their own little Christmas saying on the back and then tuck it in on top of a gift, which I thought that was a really cute idea as well. So there's a lot that you can do with it. You can switch up the decorating on the outside with the piping and just have fun with it, but it at least gives you a good idea of some of the things that you could do. And that is it for now. So until next time, ciao for now.